guys, welcome to my first YouTube video. I decided to make this channel to keep sharing my life as a nurse and flight attendant, and so if you guys have any questions, hopefully I can answer them in all these videos. But in this video today, I'm just going to start talking about how I became a flight attendant, how I became a nurse, my journey, and then how you can also become a flight attendant as well, because that is honestly my most commonly asked question. So starting from the beginning, right out of high school, I decided to go to college to become a nurse, and I enrolled in a 1.5 year long accelerated associate's degree nursing program. I ended up completing this program in 2 years because I did have to retake a class one semester. So in the end, though, it all worked out. So my last year of nursing school, I was like on the phone with my mom, and I was like, I don't know if I want to be a nurse. I don't know if I can see myself being a nurse for the rest of my life, because I just hated nursing school so much. To preface this though, I will say nursing school is completely different than being a nurse, and I love being a nurse now, and I love my job as a nurse. So anyway, I was on the phone with my mom, and I was like, I don't think I can be a nurse. I don't think I can do this. And my uncle is actually a flight attendant for the airline that I now work for, which is Southwest, the Love Line. I love it. It's the best. And he called me up and he was like, hey, we're going to be opening our application soon. You should be like maybe thinking about if you want to do this. Like, I think it would be a good option for you since you hate nursing school. Maybe you could do this after school. And I was like, okay, yeah, like I always wanted to travel. My uncle has traveled everywhere. He met his partner traveling at the airline. Like, I was like, yes, sign me up. So it was actually my last year of nursing school. I was at a clinical, and I will never forget this day. And it was in January. And I was sitting like working on nursing paperwork, and I opened up my computer, and the application for the airlines is only open for a specific amount of time. So this application was only open for 4 hours, and within that 4 hours, 20,000 people applied. And so I tried to keep submitting my application, but the site kept crashing. So for probably 2 hours while I was at my nursing clinical, I was trying to submit my flight attendant application. It finally went through, and then I think it was probably March, I got a phone call, and we did like an over-the-phone interview I did with the airline. And then once that happened and the over-the-phone interview happened, they flew me out to Dallas, which is where my airline's headquarters are. And I did a face-to-face interview where I got my CJO, my contingent job offer. And then this was all happening while I was still in nursing school. So that was in March. I was kind of like starting to study for my finals. My nursing classes were starting to wrap up. And so I honestly didn't end up going to training until July. So I was able to finish my nursing school, all my classes. I spent the most of June. I was just waiting for my training date. And July is whenever I got my training date. So I was all done with nursing school, and then I just decided to take a break and travel and focus on myself. Like, nursing school just drained me out. I was like, I'm just gonna focus on myself, just kind of have a fun summer. So then I finally got my training date, which was in July. So this all started, this was a long time coming. So I applied in January, I went for my interview in March, and then I went to training in July. So it was a long time. It's not like a normal hiring process at the airlines. So anyway, I went to training for a month in July. They pay for your hotel that you stay at. They give you a stipend for food. And then I also got a stipend at the end of my 1 month long training. I got a pay stipend. It wasn't that much money. So I had a savings account that I saved up because I wasn't working, you're at training, you're not getting paid. So I have a savings that I saved up for a while when I was in school. During nursing school, I was a patient care tech. So I could put it on my resume as a nurse, and I was able to save money up, which was one of the smartest things that I feel like I ever did, because you don't get paid during flight attendant training. So I was able to kind of fall back on that. And then I will say with flight attendant stuff, you don't really see your money until maybe 3 months after, because you might not get the base that you want. And I don't know, just a lot of other stuff until you get the swing of things. So like 3 months is whenever you maybe like start making some actual money out of training. I will also say that becoming a flight attendant can be really hard. I have heard the statistic that it is harder to become a flight attendant than get into the Ivy Leagues, but honestly my recommendation would be to anyone is to just keep trying, keep applying, apply to every airlines. I think the aviation industry can be really complicated and hard to understand until you're in there. So anyway, back to my story. I actually ended up, getting the job, and then my airline has a base in Chicago, which I decided that I was going to become a Chicago-based flight attendant. So I just picked up my entire life and I moved, and I was taking a few months off nursing. I was just focusing on my flight attendant career. And then I moved to Chicago. I was flying, and then I started a new job at a hospital in Chicago, which I love. I'm so grateful for. And now I just do both. I do flight attendant and nursing, and I think it is the best combination of jobs. I get to work with so many people. I hear so many amazing stories. And so a lot of people ask me about my schedule. So I was working full-time as a nurse initially, doing flight attendant stuff, and I'm gonna say it is doable. But I did just start working PRN not too long ago, back in August. My hospital allowed me to go PRN, which is per diem, and I kind of make my own schedule nursing. And then I don't think people realize this, but in the aviation industry as a flight attendant, it is so easy to move your schedule around to clear your board. For instance, in the month of November, I didn't fly at all as a flight attendant. I just worked strictly as a nurse. So I don't have a set schedule every month. Every month it changes. My schedule is constantly changing, but I personally like that because I have so much flexibility with my schedule. And if someone has an event or wedding or something, I have so much flexibility with my schedule that I'm usually able to go to everything, and I do have a lot of free time to myself. Okay, so the next thing I would recommend for how to become a flight attendant. This is like one of the most commonly asked questions. So like I said prior, is that the aviation industry is a little bit hard to understand until you actually get into the aviation industry. So my recommendation would be to kind of do some research into airlines, because it can be a demanding job and you want this to work out for you. You want to live in a base or commute to a base that's good for you. But my recommendation would be to start by going to every airline's websites and signing up to receive a notification for when they're hiring for flight attendants, because they only hire at certain times for a certain period of time. So the application window is not constantly open. So I would go to the website, I would go to Delta's website, I would go to Southwest website, I would go to United, I would go to American, even check out the regionals, Envoy, all the regional airlines, just to get your foot in the door. And if you don't like that airline that you end up working for, if you get the job, you can always maybe try to go to a different airline. But once you get into the door of aviation, listen to me, it takes a chokehold on you. I have become so obsessed with planes and plane facts and traveling. It's amazing. It's a whole different world. And so yeah, and I know a lot of flight attendants have so many side gigs outside of being a flight attendant. So they're both great careers. I love being a nurse and a flight attendant. I highly recommend it. So safe travels, babies.